Boris risks UK under biggest crisis ever as Plea ban household mixing and hospitality sector. Boris Johnson could ignite yet another row around his cabinet table as he mulls over plans to ask Brits to limit household mixing over Christmas. Boris Johnson, 57, is considering issuing a fresh plea to the public over the festive period to limit household mixing. The Prime Minister, who has suffered several setbacks in the last few weeks, has been presented with three options to restrict the spread of the Omicron COVID-19 variant. The lowest level of restrictions would see Mr. Johnson ask English families to limit indoor contact. However, it is believed the potential request would be introduced without legal enforcement. The Prime Minister's second option could be to enforce restrictions on household mixing, reintroduce social distancing measures and reimpose 8 p.m. curfews on pubs and restaurants. Mr. Johnson's third option is a return to full lockdown measures. But the broadsheet reports cabinet ministers warned on Sunday such regulations would not be stomached, many on the government's payroll. The Prime Minister faced a crushing blow inside cabinet when Lord Frost, 56, resigned as Brexit minister over the government's Plan B coronavirus measures. The Remain-to-Leave convert Liz Truss, 46, will take over from Lord Frost as the UK's chief negotiator to the Brussels bloc while serving as Foreign Secretary. He also faces mounting pressure from Tory backbenchers after the Conservative Party lost the once safe seat of North Shropshire to the Liberal Democrats on Thursday. It is suggested one cabinet minister would be willing to resign from their position if the Prime Minister plunged the nation into yet another lockdown. The move could also spark outrage outside of government. Business officials warn Chancellor Rishi Sunak, 41, on Sunday he has just 24 hours to commit to a support package or risk the permanent closure of some 10,000 pubs and restaurants. Following the announcement by Mr. Johnson and England's Chief Medical Officer Professor Chris Whitty, 55, at Downing Street last week, the hospitality sector has suffered from a surge in Christmas-time booking cancellations. Mr. Johnson's festive predicament comes as the UK records 82,886 new daily COVID-19 cases, which is the third day in a row the number of infections has exceeded 80,000. Brits are anxiously waiting for further news about restrictions amid fears the country will be placed back into lockdown before or after Christmas. Reports have emerged that Boris Johnson is considering implementing a 2-week circuit breaker lockdown just after Christmas to combat the spread of COVID-19. Mr. Javid said Omicron is spreading rapidly and now accounts for around 80% of infections in London and about 60% in England, prompting Mayor Sadiq Khan to declare a major incident. Modelling from scientific advisors, published on Saturday, showed that if ministers stuck to the current Plan B measures, there could be a peak of 3,000 hospital admissions in England per day. Boxing Day has been penciled in for an announcement. Following that, new measures could potentially be brought into place from the following day, December. The newspaper reports that one of the options being considered is a 2-week circuit breaker lockdown. However, this is speculative, and while Health Security Sajid Javid said the latest scientific advice was a sobering analysis, he emphasized there is still a lot we don't know about the Omicron variant, which will determine our next level of restrictions. He said ministers are monitoring the data and discussing it with scientists almost on an hourly basis. Boris Johnson last addressed the nation on December 15 when he announced he was quickening the rollout of boosters to try and ensure that everyone over the age of 18 gets their booster jab by the end of 2021. Despite the ramping up of the booster program, experts said it would not help in terms of hospitals admissions in the near future, as many would be people who are infected now, before immunity has had time to build. Dr. Rosanna Barnard, from LSHTM's Centre for the Mathematical Modelling of Infectious Diseases, who co-led the research, said, "More data over the next few weeks will strengthen our knowledge on Omicron and the consequences of this on transmission in England."